Welcome to yet another edition of BW Dialogue. Today we have a special guest who's transcended many continents. He's transcended many businesses and continues to build businesses. It's my honor and privilege to welcome Mr. Raj Kundra to this BW Dialogue. Welcome, Raj. It's a pleasure to talk to you. How have been the last 120 days for you?
So today is actually my 120th day locked down at home. It's been great from a family point of view that I've got to spend so much time with with my wife, my son, and my newborn daughter. She was literally just born a month before this pandemic started, so that's been wonderful. But it's been quite an eye opener to see the way the market has obviously reacted. It's not a India problem or a China problem; it's a global world problem. So it's nice to see how people are coming together. But yeah, it's kind of scary times, but very testing times, to be honest.
Okay. Now, you're not a stranger to tough times. And look at your journey. So you built new businesses, gone into new domains, and achieved success. So you've been in real estate, you've been in media, you've been in sports, you've been in entertainment. Tell us, what is the domain of business which is closest to Raj Kundra's heart, and why?
Yeah. So honestly, yes, it's been an interesting journey, and I think very rarely, probably 1 out of the 10 deals, 2 out of the 10 deals I've done, have I ever invested into somebody else. For me, the startup challenge is something that's given me the kick to build it and to pass it on to a professional team, or to know when to cut ties with it, unfortunately. I've enjoyed all the various verticals that I've started up, but the most exciting has to be the phase that I'm going through now, to be honest. Out of all the deals I've done, my Viaan Gaming, which is integrating real money games with live streaming, is something that I'm really enjoying. This company has got a great future. Just in the last 60 days, we've seen through all this lockdown, obviously online gaming has become huge because people are sitting at home using their phones a lot more. But I see this tech space, and understanding this kind of pandemic, we need to create businesses that are pandemic proof for the future. Bricks and mortar has kind of let us down. We have an investment in a very popular restaurant, but what can you do? No one's coming out, and the restaurants, cinemas, they're all affected. So I think it's a great learning curve for all of us that this could happen anytime again in the near future. We need to be ready for such things and make sure that if we're putting our money into a business, that we should spread the risk across pandemic-proof bricks and mortar and things that interest us. But from a startup point of view, I'm genuinely enjoying this phase, and Viaan Gaming is my most passionate venture to date.
You're right. Gaming is possibly the silver lining is this dark cloud. People are spending more time at home. They're spending more time with their phones. So
Absolutely.
Their passion for gaming is kind of getting expressed. I want to ask you, you wrote a book. Tell us the title of the book and why did you call it that? Most people are pompous when they write books, how they conquered the world and so on and so forth. You wrote a book which is a funny title. It is about entrepreneurship in your own journey. Tell us, our viewers, about the title and why did you call it that?
Yeah. So the book is called How Not to Make Money. And honestly speaking, it's a book based on a true story. So there was a huge tax crime that hit the UK and Europe, and it cost the government close to £50 billion a year. So when I wrote this book, it was purely from a fact that I was one of those hit by this VAT carousel fraud, they used to call it. So we had a company that was supplying mobile phones in the UK to various companies, and before I knew it, the same phones that I had supplied someone were coming back to me at a cheaper price. And then we realized there was this whole carousel fraud, a legal kind of loophole within the system that was causing various companies a lot of loss, and obviously definitely the exchequer as well. So when I started digging into what was going on, and suddenly I saw these plumbers, these boys that were fixing, doing part-time jobs as carpenters, suddenly driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and it's like, what happened in 1 month? You made so much money. And I realized that this was happening, and I just felt that it was something I wanted to dig into because it impacted me as well. I had to shut down one of my businesses because people were telling me that I can sell you a phone cheaper than Nokia can sell you a phone. So it just didn't work for me. And that's when I started seeing this world, seeing the kind of people involved, that it made me interested in writing a story of a set of people, their sort of rags to riches to rag story. In the end, obviously, crime doesn't pay, and 2 out of the 3 ended up in jail. It was a very interesting story, and it's just been signed with a Hollywood studio, and they're turning this book into a movie very soon.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And since you said that you're turning this book into a movie, who do you think will play the main protagonists? Are there?
I wish that was for me to decide, but honestly, we don't know, because there are 2 Asian characters and there's one American, Irish, British. They can mold it as per it works for their thing, but because they're going to treat it like a business, I'm sure they'll choose the best suited for that role. But it's a director's call more than mine, to be honest.
Raj, in your journey, you've seen a lot. Tell us, what is your most important advice to entrepreneurs? Is there a playbook to being a successful entrepreneur? And if yes, what is that?
Honestly, people ask me that a lot. And if there was a playbook or a guaranteed formula, we would all be Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk of the world. There is no fixed formula. There is no guaranteed formula. Anyone who says do it by the book works, or you've got to be streetwise works. There is no fixed formula. You have to just go with what you're passionate about and what you believe in. For me personally, I like startups and I like investing in things that make me uncomfortably nervous yet excited. If it's simple and easy, I won't do it. I want that challenge, and I want to do something that's really, just got to really sort of test me and move me. So anything that I've invested in, and honestly speaking, I believe a lot in science, the science of astrology. And if anyone understands it, they would know what a Sadhasati is. I sort of before last year, the last 7.5 years before that. Yeah, exactly. So I went through this phase of Sadhasati, and I saw 3 of my most passionate startups, which I'd put a lot of saved money into, literally go the wrong way. And we started them up and we had to shut them down. And I think a true entrepreneur is the one that can fall down and get up with the same excitement time and time again. It's very easy to say, I went all in, I lost a lot of money, and that's it for me. I'm going to go and work somewhere. That's not the spirit. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, you have to have that same spirit for every startup that you invest in and start. It's not going to be you get it right on the first time. You might, but there are going to be times where you're going to keep doing it and you're going to learn from those mistakes. If you don't learn from those mistakes, then get a job. You're not meant to be an entrepreneur or a startup specialist. But if you're learning from those mistakes and you're bettering yourself and bettering your business decisions, then there's nothing better than what you can learn from failure.
Raj so rightly said that entrepreneurship is about 3 things, in my view, just to support what you said. One is being, I keep saying there's nothing called failure. I keep saying experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So it's an experience, and you learn from that experience, as you're saying, and you build something valuable. Second is the fact that if you fall down, you get up and you give it the same energy again, the same effort. And third is staying in this long enough, being diligent, being being diffident and giving it your best. I was just asking, since you believe in astrology, and what is the role of luck and what is the role of hard work and right choices? I would like your view on that.
So I enjoy playing the game of poker, and I ask the same question to a lot of professional poker players, because really it is a great game of skill, and over the course of time, the skill will be better than the luck. But when you ask a poker player this question, they all say that you'd rather have luck any day over any kind of skill, because ultimately that's what really makes you win at the end of the day. So luck plays an important factor. Your time, your destiny has to be good. So it's important to hard work pays. I always believe it. You have to have hard work, but it's not enough in itself. You definitely need to balance it, and you need to have some divine intervention and believe that your destiny is taking you to the right place. But I believe that luck will get you there. Sorry, your destiny and your hard work will get you there 60%. And you need to have an element of luck, at least 40%.
Raj, you were born in UK, and you worked in UK. you're in India now. Now, in this pandemic, the UK government has dealt with the pandemic in a certain way. Indian government, given its own finances, has dealt with it in a certain way. Now, give us a view on both how the government has dealt with the
Yeah.
pandemic and how has the UK government. What can we learn from each other?
So, with all due respect, just look at the scale that our respected prime ministers had to deal with in India. We're a country of 1.2 billion. So, when you sort of convert and we say, oh, we have 1 million cases, this is shocking, and England only has 40, 50, 60,000 cases. But then look at their population versus the cases and our population versus cases. We're touching about 1% of the population. And there's only so much the government can do. If the people do not follow those rules, if they do not understand that social distancing means social distancing. I live on the beach and I'm seeing people sort of holding hands and walking again and chatting and playing sports as if nothing happened. We have to realize it's a very crucial time where we can beat the pandemic only if we follow these rules. Just recently, again in the UK, whilst things had got better after the lockdown, they opened up everything. The pubs, bars, clubs, everything started opening. And again, they saw a few cases rise. And just yesterday, they made it compulsory to wear your mask again. So in India, we've had these rules in place. But if people don't follow them, then there's not much the government can do. How many, we don't have the manpower of thousands of cops on the streets to penalize each and every person that breaks a rule. It just takes one person to get the COVID-19. He can potentially spread it to 500 people. So if we don't follow the rules, we're not going to get anywhere. So it's a people's thing. We should request the people, guys, let's follow the rules. If you don't need to get out of the house, stay in lockdown and treat it seriously. You can party for the rest of your life, but if you don't have the health today, then all the wealth of the world is not going to help you.
Okay. And Raj, you're a very big health and fitness enthusiast, right? You always have been a very big.
I blame my wife for that.
Yeah, I know. In a good way, though. So tell us, during pandemic times, immunity and health have become center stage.
Completely.
And a lot of people won't focus on their health, fitness, immunity before COVID. Tell us how health can help you be better at everything you do. How good quality sleep, how being fit, how being mentally agile can help in every other aspect of your life.
So I believe you can come out of this pandemic after the lockdown as fat or fabulous. It's a choice you have. It's how you treat this time. And I think it's very important that we've had this time. And if you come out of this time saying that you've learned no new skills, you're not healthy, you're not fit, then you've definitely done something seriously wrong. Have a routine in life. Just because there's a lockdown and you're not going to work doesn't mean you can't keep a routine. I believe it. And for me, I wake up every morning around 4:30. The first hour of the day goes into meditation, then jotting down my notes, my thoughts, and my plans. Then I hit the gym for about an hour. And then after the gym, wake up my son, we get to play, we have breakfast together, and then my day starts. So I think it's very important. Health and fitness, especially with my wife, she's been telling us time and time again that if you do not have a healthy body, then your immunity is going to fall. So it's very important to eat right, to drink right, and then make sure that your immunity is at its highest, especially now with this pandemic.
Raj, during your life, you met many people. You met celebrities, you met ordinary folks, you met people in business, people in power. Tell us 2-3 people who had big influence on you. People you met, people you worked with, people you interacted, and tell us why.
If it's from people I met who had an influence on my life, honestly speaking, I'll give a lot of credit to my father. He left India when he was 17. Well, literally, his father chucked him out. He didn't want to leave India. His father said, I have an option to send one of my sons to Britain, go work, earn some money, send it back. And like every Indian sort of immigrant who went to Britain to make something out of their life. So my dad's first job was being a bus conductor, and he was in Leeds up north. And in those days of Great Britain, there was a lot of racism. You were tackling being brown skin versus white skin. So he, was really inspirational for someone who had nothing, started from scratch. He says, I went with £1 in my pocket, to becoming self-made, to having multiple businesses. And it's the values that he sort of taught us. And he really wanted to keep us grounded, rooted and Indian. So my wife's sort of biggest attraction to me when she met me in London was, you're so more Indian being brought up in Britain than half of my Indian friends in India. And I think that happened because my dad, even today, is sitting with his ideologies of India 50 years ago. So he brought us up with the same thing of touching your elders' feet, respect, speaking your language. He'd make us watch a lot of Bollywood movies to keep learning Indian. He would make sure we would go to the temple every Tuesday, and that would be our day out. So he really brought us up with great values and integrity. And I think whilst he didn't become a multi-millionaire, but he gave us a lot of comforts, and he gave us a lot of foundational learnings that you can be self-made, you can go and get something. You just need to sort of really work hard at it and be true to what you're doing. So he was a great, and he still is a great inspiration for me, that nothing scares me anymore. So whilst I've done well in many ventures, lost in many ventures, I've seen the ups and downs in life. Even if I was to end up with my last 1 rupee in my pocket today, it would not scare me, because I know I could pick it all up again. So it's that energy and that fire you need inside you to say, you know what, I failed, I succeeded, but you have to have that same joy in failure, the same joy in succeeding. You don't let it get to your head. And I think the sky's the limit.
And Raj, you're very young. You have a long life ahead of you.
I look young.
What is your bucket list? What does Raj want?
Wow.
What is your bucket list? What does Raj Kundra want to do over the next 10, 20 years? About your venture in gaming?
Now I think I've come to a point where...
You talked about the book that is being made into a movie. Yeah. You talked about being a father.
Yeah.
I said you talked about being a father, which is obviously the most important thing to any
Absolutely.
man. But tell us beyond that, what does Raj Kundra want? I know you have a very active life ahead of you.
It's a great question. Yeah, it's a lovely question. So I mean, Shilpa and I try and sort of build our bucket list together, so that we don't end up on either sides of the world. We try and do things that we can do together. She enjoys her yoga. She's enjoying the spiritual journey that she's embarked on. So I definitely think these yoga retreats, or going out to lovely scenic locations. We want to go to New Zealand together and just sort of meditate and do some fun things there. We're not big on the party circuit. Neither of us drink. We're both vegetarian. I'm vegan. So we just want to go and explore the world a little bit. We want to make sure that our kids get the time they need and deserve. It's very easy to ignore children when you're too ambitious. So I think we're sort of reducing a little bit on the ambition and increasing more that togetherness, realizing that time is limited. Time is very precious on earth. So definitely a little bit more traveling to go to the nice scenic locations, learn a little bit more about yoga and wellness. And then ultimately for me, this venture now of Viaan Gaming and the live streaming app that we're launching is going to be pretty much one of my, I would like to believe and say, I never say never, but I would like to believe it's one of my last startups now. And after this, it'll be a matter of investing in other companies if I see fit. Otherwise, just preserving what we have and sticking with it. And this is it kind of thing for me. So I don't want to take I don't take more business pressure, and I want to enjoy the rest of life doing things that we would enjoy. So I want to write another book, and I'd love to maybe base it on the trials and errors of my life this time. And but that's going to take a lot of time and needs a lot of patience. But for now, the focus is Viaan Gaming, and we'll see where life takes us.
Okay. When I asked you a question, who do you look up to? Who you learn? You talked about your father, and that is natural. Your father's journey and stories is inspirational. But beyond your father, who are the people that you work with, you interacted with, that you learned from, and you kind of have been inspired by them, and you look up to them?
I have to give it to one gentleman who I've sort of learned a lot and admire for his way of business and for just the way he is with people. His people management is fantastic. Is the co-owner and my ex-partner in Rajasthan Royals was Manoj Badale. He's chairman of the British Asian Trust, doing wonderful work. He's really segregated his time well. He runs 25, 26 different companies and various investments that he has. And the way that he has just managed the charity element, the being the perfect father and being there for the family and handling all the businesses together. There was so much to learn from him. He's really been a wonderful friend. And I look up to him as as a mentor, but I don't tell him that. But he's generally a great guy, and I believe he's also writing his book. So that's one to look out for when Manoj Vidale comes out with his book. It'll be really one to read for aspiring startup entrepreneurs.